Welcome back, everyone. This time we've got some fun footage framing out the kitchen walls and a hallway in the garage. Now, we've been doing a lot of framing, and I was kind of thinking I was going to hold this footage back until I could do the full garage and kitchen builds before and after type thing, but we're still waiting on two of the inspections, the plumbing and the electrical, and I'm not very good at just like sitting around and waiting, so I decided to take advantage of that, started editing, and I thought it was enough footage to put together a fun little video. So without further ado, here it is. There's so much going on, it's hard to get a quiet moment or a dust-free lens around here, but that's a good thing because it means we're making progress. So right now we're doing a little more final demo on the kitchen, then we're gonna frame the kitchen walls. I'll tell you more about that framing in a minute, but first, we actually get to lose the HVAC duct that was in the corner. I'm pretty excited about that. I thought I was gonna have to stay to get airflow between the floors, but we can rip it out, which means I get a perfectly flat wall, don't have to work around it, and can modify my kitchen design to extend cabinets all the way across the wall. The other thing before we get to framing is I actually have to demo this part of the kitchen floor. The wood floor kind of looks nice, but it's so warped, it's probably beyond salvageable. We don't want to frame over something that we're actually gonna have to remove later. So I was originally thinking we're gonna remove the whole sort of floor in the kitchen area. That's way more work than I anticipated. That stuff is nailed down pretty good. So we got the boards right next to the wall removed, which is all we need to do right now so that we can put the framing in. So they've got part of the frame up now, and we actually need to open up a square in the frame where the brick will be exposed. And this actually requires going back to the design for the kitchen to look at. So we're gonna kind of have an open nook or countertop where the brick wall is the natural backdrop for the kitchen. So we gotta mark off that hole to get opened up in the wall or in the framing so that the framing is only gonna be behind the cabinets. So trash has been piling up. We just got a 15-yard dumpster delivered. I think we're probably gonna fill the whole thing today, get it hauled off. And trash is one of the things a lot of people don't think about during a big renovation project. It's actually a pretty big cost. It's like 400 to 500 bucks for each trailer full of trash you have to haul off, and you'd just be amazed the amount of trash a construction project generates. No matter how much you think, it's gonna be more than you think. So one thing I want to address here is saving materials. I get a lot of people who get really upset when we're throwing out like any piece of wood, like why aren't you reclaiming it? The truth is, I would become a warehouse for wood instead of a shop and home if I tried to save everything. You can see behind me here, I've got like a lot of these big beams, 2x4s that don't have a lot of nails in them. I'm trying to save some stuff, but it's already started just piling up. I gotta still work, so you gotta throw things out. It's unfortunate. I wish I could reclaim everything, but yeah, you do what you can. Today I got the framing guys here, and we're doing the last bit of framing we need to do before we call the city for the inspection. We're gonna put up a wall here in the garage that creates a hallway from the back door there to the stairs that lead up to the second floor. And honestly, I wish I didn't have to do this framing. It's totally just money down the drain, other than the fact I need it in order to get the zoning done right. So in order to have a second floor residential and a first floor commercial, we have to isolate 2 pathways to exterior exits. So we've got the one in the front, and then we got to create this hallway here so you can come from upstairs, go down the stairs and out the back door without actually going into the garage. I'm not saying I'm going to tear it down after the inspection, but this just got a little more complicated and more expensive. There is a very narrow slot in the ceiling next to the HVAC duct where we can run the top channel of the frame. And right now there's a bunch of electrical conduit distributing lines from the main breaker box up along the ceiling, right exactly where that top section of the frame needs to go. So that means we had to call in the electricians to come move those lines in order to build the wall. So basically I'm paying extra to unnecessarily move some electrical lines in order to make room for the wall that I don't really want to build in the first place. Gotta love construction. Further update, and it is not looking good. The electricians just got here. Basically, every line to the whole first floor would have to be rerouted because that's like the source for everything going to the breaker box. They said it was like 2 days work to do that for the wall I don't really want. So we're brainstorming right now. We'll check back in a little later and hopefully we'll come up with a solution. Before we get to the solution to that problem, I want to share some fun kind of behind the scenes footage that's supported by this video's sponsor, ARIAT Work. Over the last couple weeks, a lot of the US has had some super crazy snowstorms, and Chicago was no exception. There were spots outside the house that had like 3 feet of snow piled up. Cars were buried. On the worst day we had, my car wouldn't start. I was getting antsy to just film something. So I captured a bunch of footage of me digging my car out of the snow and trying to jump start it. And when you're trying to prove a point, it's a lot better to show than tell. So I figured the best way to show how awesome these waterproof ARIAT work boots have been in the snow was to put together a little musical montage of me unburying the car. Good sign. Yep, I think the battery's out. Yeah, I got it. So I tried to jump start it, we couldn't get it going, and I had to end up getting it towed. Unfortunately, you can't just replace the battery on your own on those VWs. There's something in the computer that basically prevents it from starting and has to be reset when there's a new battery put in. But I digress. The main point was that the ARIAT work boots kept my feet dry. So once again, I want to thank ARIAT Work for supporting this channel. If you're in the need for workwear or boots, check out the link in the description below. You can get 10% off your first order. I think you'll like them. I love them. Now, back to the video. Back the next day, I think we figured out a way to do this without breaking the bank, having to move a bunch of electrical unnecessarily. We're just gonna use these 1.5 inch metal studs. I didn't even know they made studs that were this small. There's just enough room for these in between the wires and the ceiling, so pretty relieved that's gonna work. This morning, the guys put the tracks on the floor and the ceiling, and they were about to put the studs in, and I said, hey, let me get my hands dirty a little bit. You guys take lunch 20 minutes early, so we're gonna put in the rest of these metal studs real quick right now. that just barely fit. When I got up there to put in the screws, I realized it was close. So continuing with what we talked about in the last video, kind of explaining metal studs, because I know a lot of people just are a little intimidated because metal seems harder to work with than wood, and it's really not in this case. Not sponsored by Metal Stud Industry of America or anything like that, just, you know, trying to share a little knowledge as I gain it. So they might seem pretty flimsy, but the combination of metal studs and drywall is a case where the sum is greater than the individual parts. When you screw that drywall to the metal stud, the overall structure is perfectly strong, definitely adequate for what you need it to do. You can hang stuff from it, do just about anything you could with wood studs. And I guess since we built this wall structure that's going to define the hallway, we might as well head on in there and do a quick tour of the hallway. Starting behind me right here, we've got the back door. Actually has never been opened because I was never given a key to it. We'll need to fix that at some point. And we'll walk down the hallway. Coming in, got some room here for some 24-inch deep storage shelves that I can store a bunch of materials, stuff like that right there. Coming through here, it's a little tight here. There's this wood part that we're gonna actually take out. So the stairs run like that. This is all gonna be emptied out, so there'll actually be more storage underneath the stairs when we're done. We'll come around down the hallway here. And yes, it is a tight hallway by design. So we're gonna come around this corner here. There'll be a door here that leads into the main garage area. Flip around behind me this way is the door that leads to the stairs. They're gonna go up to the YouTube studio in the main living area. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed that little sneak peek at what's to come. I know I keep saying this, but we are getting so close to the fun part where all the finishes start going in. As soon as we get the electrical and plumbing inspection done, which should be in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we will hit the ground running with the drywall, the flooring, starting on the bathrooms, all the exciting stuff. And I'm not gonna sit on my laurels while I'm waiting for the inspection. I've got a couple other projects up my sleeves, including doing all the insulation upstairs. There'll be a video on that. I've also been dialing in the CNC, getting things in order in the shop so I could basically be a cabinet making factory and pump out those kitchen cabinets and bathroom vanities. I built out this plywood storage cart to store the massive amounts of material I'm gonna need to make the cabinets. I've also been doing a lot of behind the scenes things to get the CNC ready to be a cabinet factory, building a spoil board, just calibrating it. Basically, it takes a lot of time just to get everything set up and built out so I can efficiently make a lot of cabinets. And I think I might make a video on all that too, if there's interest. So I got a lot of things coming. I'm pretty stoked. As always, love you guys for being here on this journey. That's it for this time, and I will see you next time.